Hi folks, welcome back to Physics with Captain Rod. I'm making this video here to answer a very important question here for you folks. What are unit vectors and what are they used for? So simply put, unit vectors are vectors of length 1. They carry no units, they have a magnitude of 1, and all they do is they have direction. I like to think of them as pointers. Now there's unit vectors can point in any direction you want, but the three most common that you'll see in math and physics are unit vectors that point along the x-axis, the y-axis, and the z-axis. And those vectors have specific names. They are called, believe it or not, I, j, and k. Now there's some notation that goes with unit vectors. You'll notice these little hat symbols I put over these three things. All right, so standard rule of thumb, if you see a variable in a math or physics text and it's got this symbol over it, it's probably a unit vector, which means it just has length 1. I is a unit vector that points in the positive x direction, so it would point this way if I were to draw it in this picture. Minus I would be a vector that points left. I'm not going to draw it here because I want to keep the picture as clean as possible. J is a unit vector that points in the positive y direction. If I drew it in this picture, there it would go. And again, minus j in my picture would point down. K is a unit vector that points in the z direction. So in this picture, that would go this way. And again, what these are used to do is they're used to give directions. So I points in the plus x direction, minus I would point in the other direction. Plus j points in the plus y direction, minus j points in the minus y direction. And k points in the plus z direction, minus k points in the minus z direction. Again, these are just used for giving directions. Now, what do we use them for? Well, they give us a very convenient way to express vectors. So I'm going to go through a quick example over here now. So imagine we've got a vector that I called vector A. It's 10 units long, makes a 30-degree angle with a positive x-axis. I'm going to keep this to just a two-dimensional problem here for the first example. It's very easy to find the vector components of A. I'm going to draw those in red. The x component of A, I could draw here. I would typically call that something like AX, and because it's adjacent to the 30-degree angle, it's going to equal 10 units times the cosine of 30 degrees, which is 8.66 units. The y component of vector A, we could draw here. It's opposite the 10-degree angle, so it's going to equal 10 units times the sine of 30 degrees, which is 5 units long. So this vector, 10 units, 30 degrees from the positive x-axis, there's a couple ways to express it, and here's one of them, just like I've already done. 10 units long, positive 30 degrees from the positive x-axis. But we can also express it in terms of unit vectors. It's 8.66 to the right. Now, right is not really a good math term. That's what we use the unit vectors for. It's 8.66 in the plus I direction, so I can write that. 8.66i, and it's 5 units up, or 5 units in the plus y direction, so plus 5 units j direction. So 8.66i plus 5j is just another way to express this vector, and it's a very handy way, it's a very convenient way for dealing with vectors, particularly when you get into complex problems in 3 dimensions and stuff. So the intention of this video is just to answer the question of what unit vectors are and what they're used for. So they're vectors of length 1. These are some examples of unit vectors, but again, there's others. You can actually define a vector in a unit vector in any direction you want. And I'll make another video about how you find unit vectors in various directions. But I, j, and k are probably the 3 most common. You'll see them in lots of math, physics, and engineering texts. And then what are they used for? They're used for giving directions. So basically over here, the alternative way to express this vector would be 8.66 I plus 5j. I'll save other examples for other videos. So I hope this video helps answer the question of what unit vectors are. Have a great day.